All right, so right now we are getting ready to head to the hospital really quick. Some things have taken place with the pregnancy, and I'm just a little worried, so we're gonna go check it out and make sure to see if everything's okay or if there's anything that we can do. Today was November 18th, and by the time this video goes live, 32 days have passed since our ride to the hospital. This is probably the hardest video I've ever shared with you, so I'll let the content speak for itself. The main goal of this video is to offer support to anyone going through the complications of a miscarriage. And like in my very first pregnancy video, you'll also get a closer look at the medical system here in Da Nang City. I hope this gives you a clearer idea of what to expect and potentially helps you make informed decisions for yourself. Of course, in a much better situation than ours.
Apparently, Maddie has been having pain in her belly region, and before we decided to head out, I also made a phone call to the doctor who helped Maddie with the ultrasound the other day, and after telling her all of the symptoms that Maddie has been experiencing, she said, yeah, we should check Maddie in today to see how it is. So we're going to location number 1 of maternity and children hospital. It's not that far away from our home, and since Maddie doesn't feel that comfortable sitting on the scooter, we're actually taking a cab to get to the hospital.
The main location of the hospital is bigger, older, and of course more chaotic. As a top-tier medical facility, it's fully equipped to allow doctors to make far more diagnoses and decisions than at other places, hence the chaos. Patients come not only from Da Nang City, but also from many neighboring provinces, so the hospital uses a ticket number system to manage the flow. The procedure is fairly standard. Pick a number, wait to be called, then pay the entrance fees. After that, wait again to enter the consultation room to figure out what needs to be done. Once the tests or scans are determined, you pay for them and proceed. The only issue we faced was that most doctors and nurses didn't seem to speak much English, but David was a tremendous help every step of the way.
So they're gonna call us up one by one?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
They even allowed him into rooms that are normally restricted to patients. Other than that, given the sheer number of people we saw, the process wasn't too bad. It only took us about 3 hours from picking up our number to receiving the results.
It was very necessary for us to get back home and talk it through because it helps prepare us for all of the emotional turbulences or roller coasters. This is the second trip to that same hospital today. We got our first checkup not that long ago, 2 days ago, and then today turns out it wasn't viable.
Like, I felt like something was off at the first scan when she told me it was 5 weeks. And then that's kind of like when things started going downhill. I got the cramping, and then we went in today because like I told David last night that I was bleeding, and so I said, okay, well, we have to go in the morning, like there's something wrong. And then we went in today and they just told us that it had stopped growing at 5 weeks.
The results were read to us by the last doctor at the last desk. There are a lot of possibilities of why it happened the way it did, but I didn't believe that was the result. I just kept asking, okay, so what is the final result? I need something. I need a statement that is more firm, because all of the doctors though, even with the result reading doctor, she was like,
there was a high chance. I didn't want to hear that there was a high chance. I wanted to make sure that everything was like that. So we needed to prepare. And then after a few questions with a similar meaning, the result reading doctor at her desk told me, yeah, we ran the result through 2 head doctors in this department, so there's no way that the result is not legit. And that's when we kind of finally got our final result, and Maddie just wanted to go home. After talking it through with one another, we decided to check Maddie back in the hospital in order to get it out, so Maddie doesn't have to suck through all of the pain and all of the cramps and complications.
So the whole procedure is a little bit more complicated than we thought it was. After getting back here from our apartment, we didn't have to go through all of the number picking procedure anymore. We just went directly to the result reading desk that we were in the morning, and then they took our result papers and the medical book. We followed a lady to come up here to the 8th floor. There, they told us that there was only one solution to get everything out. They wouldn't do any severe interference because it's not safe for the baby mother. So what they'll do is that they already took your blood, right?
Yeah.
Okay, to run through all of the tests to see if Maddie has any underlying conditions or any complicated conditions prior to the main procedure or the main process. And the only method they have here is the medication. So Maddie has to take it, and the whole process is going to be about 5 to 7 days. That's also the amount of time that Maddie has to stay hospitalized, just to make sure that everything is fine. I also got to sign a paper that literally says or states that we're okay with all of the complications or side effects, fevers, crampings, oh yeah, digestive problems as well. Now I have to go pay the bill. The estimate is gonna be about 4 million dong, so it's around 160 US dollars. So 5 to 7 days is the estimated period of time that Maddie has to stay hospitalized for this whole thing. But it depends on like how good or strong the body is. Some people only take like 1 to 3 days in order for that whole thing to be washed out. So they also give me a piece of paper that literally includes all of the small items that I gotta pay or I gotta buy in the canteen downstairs. Apparently Maddie has to, from now on, go do number 1 and number 2 in a small bowl to actually monitor how everything comes out. Then she has to report that to the doctor so that they know how the process is and what is going to be the next step they will take. Just because the canteen people have received a lot of these papers from the patients, so they know to put everything into like a small container for us if I give them just this paper. But there is also a few items that you don't have to go for the canteen people to buy. You can actually go back home and just bring it back to the hospital. So apparently Maddie just took the 3 pills that they gave her, and she also got injected with the type of medication that was supposed to help with all the cramping and stuff. So right now she's in pain. She made me a list here, and I only have about 45 to 1 hour to pack everything and bring them back to the hospital. We can't believe that yesterday we checked Maddie in, and today Maddie is already feeling a lot better.
So they hadn't even given me any medication to start the whole process. It all happened naturally, and it all happened within a few hours.
When that happened though, I was like, what should I do? What should I do right now? Like my mind and my brain was just like bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
But then the nurse who was helping us the entire night,
She was a star. She was like,
Yeah.
all right, you need to get this. And then she also asked the ladies in our room, which is really, I'm really glad that I actually shared a room with these ladies, because they're just handing out stuff. Like, here, take this, you need this.
We were standing right in front of our washroom, but then the door was locked, so somebody was occupying the room, obviously. And then that lady, the one that was like next to us, she just came right at the door, knocked at the door, said very loudly, saying, "Yo, you need to get out." She needed to go in there, otherwise everything is gonna happen out here. She did it with such, assertiveness and confidence. And I was like, I wouldn't have been able to do so because first of all, I thought it was one of the members, one of the ladies in the room, in the same room.
Yep.
Second of all, if that person was in there, she must be like a woman who needed it too. So I couldn't be that selfish, right?
Yeah.
But then when she did it for us, I was so thankful and appreciative of that kind of like behavior because Maddie was basically shaking.
I couldn't stand up. I was hunched over, like holding my stomach. And so that's why I was really appreciative of just the way that they were reacting and just the helpfulness of it because it just brought a sense of community and eased the whole process.
So just an update, how's everything going to be for the next couple of days? Maddie still has to stay hospitalized. That's what the doctor told us. Today she took some antibiotic, tomorrow, and also some cramping medicine.
Yeah. So they're really doing their due diligence of making sure that there's no way when I'm sent home I'm gonna get sick.
Exactly. I am so happy, Maddie, because you bounced back to this normal state so fast and now we're walking around.
And I'm the one that asked to walk around.
Exactly.
We finally decided to go home. Technically, you are still hospitalized, but we're basically ditching the hospital. And before doing this, I already consulted with the nurse today.
Not that there was anything wrong with the hospital, but nothing beats home. And even though they're letting me go home, I still have to come back early tomorrow morning for just another check, I think. I think it's because we live so close to the hospital and because I got everything out last night. So I think that's just why they're letting me go home.
Today is the third day since Maddie got it all out. So this morning we got up and we checked ourselves in the hospital right in time in order for the doctor to check regularly and daily. And then tomorrow she's gonna run a test to see if everything is already out. And if that's the case, then we can finally go home without having to go back into the hospital again. Today's actually a rainy day, but we still have one last important thing to do.
And that is find a place for cremating the embryo.
Like a lot of the families would prefer going to a pagoda or a temple to ask if that place takes the jar. It was almost meant to be this way or something because we went to two places, but nobody was here. So I think after cremating, we're gonna bring it home and I'm gonna do a little bit of a praying session and then we can finally keep the jar instead of our home forever.
I think that's how it's supposed to be. Makes me feel a little bit better rather than leaving it at a temple or pagoda and then going to visit once a year. I think having it at home makes me feel a little bit better. To anyone going through a similar loss, you are not alone. And together, we will find hope again. Thank you for watching, guys.